Welcome to the Bunny Show, live.
Sex saves marriages. Some say I'm a goddess with both brains and compassion. I say I'm 20% girl brain and 100% fun. I want to help you navigate the labyrinth that is the female mind. If you're not having sex with her, what are you even doing? It's only too much sex when it interferes with your mission. What we're talking about translates not only into success with women, but into social and business interactions across the board with anyone. I want you to win in life, in business, and primarily in sex. I'm like Dr. Ruth meets Nina Hartley, except I only take my clothes off in public when there's tequila shots involved. I'm so excited for the show. Are you ready? Let's do this.
It's the Bunny Show, live with our host and resident sex expert, Bunny.
That's me. Good morning and welcome to the Bunny Show Live. I am so excited that you are here. Church is in session. I love it. How is everybody doing this morning? I am so excited about all the discussion points that we have to talk about today. I want you guys jumping in. You know I love that. I get excited by it. Anything you can do to get me more excited is just added bonus. I've got coffee this morning, and apparently I'm drinking out of a camping cup. Apparently I feel like I'm like on a camping expedition this morning. I don't know why. But I am super happy to be here. We are going to talk about performance anxiety. We are going to talk about giving girls or removing your attention from girls. And we're going to talk about the ways that men can repulse women and never really recover. So we're going to run the gamut of great talking points, and any questions that you guys have, throw our way. And either Fort Worth will answer them in the chatter box, or he'll throw it over to me and we'll discuss it. So if you have questions or if you have things that you'd like me to touch on, feel free to put that in the chat. Let's start with girls and attention. Truly, attention is a female's oxygen. You guys, if you're tuning into this, you probably already know this, but it's important to kind of drive home the point over and over and over. The basics have to be repeated, right? So that they will stick. Whether you want to punish a girl, remove your attention. If you want to get a girl's attention, get her to chase you, all you have to do is remove your attention. If you want to see how loyal she is or where her loyalties lie, go ahead and remove your attention. This is so counterintuitive to men being action takers, but it works. The queen of unapologetically seeking male attention online is Kate. So Dead Sand Sushi is her handle on Twitter. And I'm telling you, she is truly unapologetic about talking about not even needing attention in person, because men give so much online attention. It's just like we always talk about it. And I'm not calling her a 3, but like 3s, 4s are like 9s online, because they're showered with so much attention on social media, on dating apps, across the board. A girl will just seek out attention in every way, shape, and form. And any attention is good attention. It's just like we talked about with, in raising kids or whatnot. There's inevitably like a kid in the classroom or a child that is one of yours, where truly it's the strangest dichotomy that instead of being a pleaser, any attention is good attention, and any attention is a girl's oxygen, which is why she will post pictures, selfies. She'll be traveling, let's say, and aside from the cock she's riding and the hidden men that are not in the picture, she will post tons of pictures, making sure that she looks good, making sure they're cropped a certain way, make sure they're filtered a certain way. She will, like, genuinely, I find the funniest part is women in business. A woman who is theoretically in business will post a picture on Facebook, let's say, of herself looking fabulous. And then the caption with it has absolutely nothing to do with anything about the photograph. Like, it's like, talking about some system or process that's in place where a demonstrative photograph would actually enhance the message even more. But she cannot help but post a photo of herself. This is the truest nature of women. And you can use this to your benefit or to your detriment. So to your detriment, I'm going to give this example. The best example I see of men having a complete disconnect in how much attention they shower onto women online in particular is when one of these like celebrity love kind of Facebook groups will post it at someone's birthday. And they'll post that I'm going to use Linda Carter as an example because you guys know I'm completely obsessed and would fuck her at every age, stage, and with enthusiasm. I adore her. She's beautiful. She's stunning at every age. Anyway, let's use her as an example. So let's say this random, like pop culture celebrity, channel posts a photo of Linda Carter on her birthday. The number of men who will jump in to that post, not posted by Linda Carter, not actually having anything to do with the actual human being, who will jump in and say, "Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, I hope you have the best birthday." Just vomiting compliments and well wishes for the woman who is not even seeing this post is ridiculous. It's the best example of men showering women with attention online, whether it's deserved or seen or not. So be cautious of things of that nature. If a girl on Facebook or in your Twitter feed or in your Insta feed posts a photograph and you're not fucking her and you're giving her compliments, that's a weakness of yours. And that is her absolute oxygen. It is white noise to her. Make no mistake. We need oxygen every day, every moment of every day. And yet we're not thanking every oxygen molecule for the oxygen. It's the same with the attention that you shower on women online. So I just want to encourage you to not do any of that. Attention is her oxygen, but it does not make you stand out from the other men who are showering those kinds of compliments and attention on her. The best way to get her attention is to do less. The best way to punish her is to do less. The best way to point out a behavior that you don't care for is to do less. Remove your attention when you are not pleased with what she's doing. Remove your attention when you want her to chase you. These are the things that unfortunately get a female's attention. I'm not saying it's a healthy thing. I'm saying it's the truth. Number 2, this is a good one. girls can be absolutely repulsed by men in an instant, and you will never recover from it. So this is true with boyfriends. This is true with potential mates. This is true with new dates that maybe you're on. This is true with old loves. You have to be very cautious not to bore or repulse the woman that you are seeing, involved with, interested in, because it's just like the friend zone. It's very difficult, if not impossible, and I would say impossible for most men to recover. I'm going to give you a couple of examples from my own life. So the first example is from my high school boyfriend. Lovely man. He's a great guy. He's a good guy. I was completely crazy about him. I would have married this man if, we weren't still both children at the time. But when we were in college, we went to separate universities, and, on the weekends, we would always get together. So we went to a small high school, and so everyone was friends with everyone, and everyone hung out together. And it was kind of one of those, like, rural high school experiences in Texas. So on the weekends, everybody would come into town from their respective universities, and we would hang out like we always did. That's what you do. That's what our friend group did. It was a lot of fun. One night, everyone was drinking. My high school boyfriend had been drinking, and I guess we had been at the river, because we were all in like swimsuits and swim trunks and stuff like that. He took his swim trunks off, and he starts like walking around the room, making everyone look at his dick. It sounds even more ridiculous than it was at the time when he did this, but it was kind of one of those attention grabs, just like girls taking their tops off or flashing. It was along those lines. But I remember immediately going, oh my God, and being completely repulsed by a guy who I otherwise adored. And there was no recovering from that. There was not ever seeing that again. I see pictures of him on Facebook, because I'm Facebook friends with his mom still. And I think about that time when, in the middle of the kitchen at a friend's house, he whipped his dick out and was like talking to everybody about his cock. And I was like, what is actually happening right now? It was bizarre. Example number 2 from my own personal experience. Social circle guy. So post-divorce, dicks are not tits. You're right. And yet every once in a while, guys will whip them out like they are as flattering and as pretty to look at as tits. Social circle guy at a bar. I've actually posted about this. I've written about this. If you've been with me for long, you've probably heard this story, but it bears repeating because it is a way of instantly turning off a woman. Sitting at a bar, and he's had a little bit too much to drink, I think. And we're sitting there and we're talking, and randomly this guy that I was sitting at the bar with, this social circle friend, who would have probably made a decent like boyfriend or husband. He probably would have made an actually pretty good husband. But laughing, he said something to the bartender, and then he said, "I'm hung like a light switch." And the bartender looked at me, and I looked at the bartender, and we both kind of went, "What?" And the bartender said, I'm sorry to hear that," and walked off. And I just remember thinking, well, that takes him out of the running for any potential ever anything. You have to be so cautious. And both of my stories revolve around alcohol, because I believe that the majority of problems that men run into often are related to overconsumption of alcohol. And I will say, and drugs are not on my radar, so I don't have a whole lot of, I don't have any experience as far as how illicit drugs affect attitudes or behaviors or what you do or say in these kind of scenarios. But alcohol has a huge impact. And the key thing to remember with these stories in particular, and just the idea of repulsing women in general, is that if you're going to drink, remember that you have to be remaining in charge of your own faculties, as well as keeping in charge of her, and being in your head enough, in your mind, right mind enough to keep you both safe and to keep you from saying anything fucking stupid that will completely repulse and turn off irreparably the woman in front of you. It's the real deal. You can't recover from this in the same way that once a girl puts you in the friend zone, it's very difficult to recover from that as well. The friend zone is actually more likely to recover from by just being bold than repulsing a woman by saying or doing something that is uncharacteristic but turns her off instantly. And a lot of times you will see this also in kind of established marriages where the woman is already a little bit checked out. She's already kind of bored, but then, so she's a little bit on high alert. Make no mistake, I'm putting this on her. She's on high alert. She's already kind of digging for things that he does wrong. She's digging for things to complain about. She's, riding him like a pony, just nitpicking everything he does. Those women. This is because she's bored. But then all he has to do is whip his dick out in the middle of a party in a weird way. And she's like, okay, I'm out. I'm done. There's no recovering from this. There's no way to not repulse her. So whether it's, whatever the examples are, don't bore women and don't repulse women, because there's no recovering from that. And I just want you to be very clear on that. Let's talk performance anxiety. Now, I actually just did this huge deep dive in, oh wait, hold on. Billy Buster, what did you say? Something that repulsed her. I took a sip of a woman's drink once, thinking it was okay since we'd already made out a couple of times. It ruined the whole thing. Fascinating. So it was like a huge turnoff to her that you took a drink of her drink. And that's kind of one of those things that you think would be an okay thing to do. But people are funny about sharing food, sharing drinks, sharing toothbrushes, sharing like combs. People are funny about sharing things. So that's an interesting example, Billy. I like that. So even when it comes to sharing things of that nature, whether you've already kind of gone through the bases or not, be cautious and know your audience. I think that's where, just like calibrating teasing, calibrating, how far you go with jokes, calibrating your physical proximity and like closeness to her, touching and things like that. You have to calibrate to the girl in front of you. So maybe it wasn't that bad with her, but it pissed her friend off. That's funny. All right. Performance anxiety. I just went into a deep dive on this in my Fuck Like a Porn Star course, which is fucking gold. I know that I wrote the course and I know that I did all the videos and I know that I do all the selling, but I'm telling you guys, if you want to be a fuck god and you feel like you're only in the top 5% and you want to be in the top 1, the Fuck Like a Porn Star course is money. I want you to be the director, not only of your sexual experience and your personal porn. I want you to be the director of her sexual experience as well, whether it's a number of women, whether you're fucking your way around the world or whether you want to have a great, strong, incredible sex life with your one woman for the rest of your life. It goes a long way in pleasure enhancement and quality of life. So we were talking about performance anxiety, the causes, the cures, ways to get around it, the reasons it happens, and ways to solve the problem. And kind of a lot of times it's a matter of just getting out of your own head as the man. But there are 3 key points that I want to lift up today to kind of give you some tips for dealing with performance anxiety without giving away the whole shebang, shall we say. Number 1, remember that she cannot read your mind. She doesn't know what your experience level is, which is great because a lot of guys get performance anxiety specifically because maybe they aren't as experienced with women as they'd like to be, or with their friend, or as their friends are. So they go into a sexual encounter or into a new date with a new girl, nervous because they think that she can tell, and she can't. She can't read your mind. She doesn't know you're safe there. This is a safe space. And she also can't read your mind in that she doesn't know what kind of stuff you're dealing with. And it's best that she not know. So even if she's your wife, oftentimes it's really, it behooves you not to tell her every stress you have. You know, the red pill, the dark side of things likes to tell you that she doesn't want to know because she doesn't care. I think primarily from a female perspective, it's best that she not know because she absolutely goes into a panic about it. She doesn't know how to handle it. She doesn't know how to process. She doesn't know how to help. And oftentimes her stress then becomes more stressful and just adds to the problems that you're already having. So she cannot read your mind. And this, in the way of stresses you're dealing with, whether it's monetary, whether it's business related, whether you've just got a big project on your shoulders right now, whether you're mentally and physically exhausted from work or even from like dadding, like you may be just fucking tired because, you know, your 3 kids were all involved in baseball tournaments all weekend long and you're just tired. So she can't read your mind. All she knows is what she's feeling and vaguely what she's witnessing. But oftentimes even that is very skewed. So be cautious with assuming that she's actually like reading the things that you're putting out correctly. If you're having a hard time, if you feel like maybe you're not in the mood and she is, or you're both in the mood, you're kind of trying, but you're nervous that your body's just fucking not going to cooperate, feel free to tell her. You know, there are ways that you can enjoy sex play without it always including penetration. So if you've got something on your mind, it's okay to say, I may not be able to fully go full charge tonight, but I want to play because, you know, you're sexy as fuck. And, you know, it's okay to say things like that, kind of prime that, because oftentimes when you kind of let yourself off the hook in that way with the girl who's in front of you, maybe it's just a little bit slower warm-up process for you that day. And once you kind of play around in non-penetration kind of ways, as long as you don't get so frustrated that your dick's not getting hard, or that you're worried that your dick's not getting hard, or you're worried that even if you get hard, you're not going to be able to stay hard, oftentimes the problem eliminates itself. You start messing around, you start making out, you start playing with oral sex, you start playing with toys, whatever the case may be, you get warmed up, and the next thing you know, you're rock hard. So performance anxiety, step number one, remember that she is not in your head. She cannot read your mind. You have to share with her, or at least understand that she's not in there. She doesn't know what the problem is. She just knows that there is a problem.
Billy asked a question. It might be in the same vein. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Billy Buster asked, can she tell by the body language, though? If she can't read your mind, are there ways that, or, can she tell by body language?
I think that a big factor with that is if it's your lack of self-confidence from a sexual performance, like a sexual experience standpoint, that's where you faking it till you make it goes a long way. Confidence overcomes experience in a lot of areas of life, and sexual performance is one of those. So especially on the front end, and this is more something that I wanted to talk about in a few points, and that's cool. We'll talk about it now. But she, especially in the first few encounters with you, or if you've been fucking a few days or weeks or even a couple of months, oftentimes just the fact that you're getting pleasure from her body is all she really needs. Girls, for the most part, are not all that participatory in sex play. So if you're doing stuff and you have the confidence to at least pretend you know what you're doing, and that's where education goes a long way. You need to know what kind of things to do to seem confident sexually and otherwise. And you need to know generally what to expect, even if you are going in as a complete virgin. That's where courses like Fuck Like a Porn Star, that's like books like Fuck Like a Porn Star, that's like all kinds of resources that are available to you go a long way in making sure your body language does not tell on you in your insecurity. Now, body language as far as if it's related to mental problems, mental hangups, challenges you're having that you just kind of can't get out of your own head. I would say it's more difficult to hide body language because men tend to be, when they're in their heads, when they're stressed about something, when they've got stressors or things weighing down on them that then cause performance anxiety, I think it's very difficult for them to fake a different kind of attitude. Women are much better at that than men are. Women can be in a bad mood, but they know that they have to go to this party and, be the hostess with the mostest and put on the shiny face and be essentially politically correct, be social and lovely. So men have a lot more of a struggle, I would say, with faking their body language when in their heads they're really struggling with something that could be getting in the way of their sexual performance. And the other part of that, I will say, great question, is that if you are having problems mentally with, you're dealing with challenges that you're fearful or are contributing to performance anxiety, you also tend to get very angry. Men tend to get mad when their dick doesn't work, understandably so. But if you can just chill the fuck out for a second, distract yourself, do other things, have fun in other ways, it goes a long way. So that's another place where men's body language will tell on them, because if they're getting all worked up and pissed off and she doesn't know why, because she's coming like a freight train because you're going down on her, or whatever the case may be, she's having a good time and you guys are just connecting sexually, even if it's not penetration, it goes a long way. So you can tell on yourself in that way. Great question, Billy. Thank you. Remember that your pleasure is her pleasure. So a lot of times, and this is just kind of an expansion of then what I was just talking about, early on, especially, she is less concerned about you making her come 50 times, more concerned about how pleased you are by her body, by her presence. It goes a long way in just celebrating kind of the sexual time that you're having, and not necessarily worrying about rating your own performance. There's not a panel of judges watching you and giving you, performance ratings at every move. Change positions up, throw her around, talk dirty to her, get toys out if you need to, get things going in other ways that turn you on. And she will have a great time. And she may be completely unaware that you're having any kind of struggle at all. So there are ways that you can hide this that often end up getting you going. Maybe you're just a little bit slower to warm up on some days over the others. Again, we talked in depth about this in Fuck Like a Porn Star course. So if you're not in that, I would love to have you join the party. Number 3, the third point in helping you with performance anxiety, and this one I would say is a divisive topic. Don't be afraid of using performance enhancing drugs. It is not a forever thing for most people. If you are otherwise a relatively healthy man who's under the age of 80, performance enhancing drugs used on occasion can improve your confidence. It goes back to the confidence thing. Just knowing, it's kind of like the placebo effect. Just knowing that something is running through your system to help kind of get you out of your head and into your head goes a long way in ensuring that your stress is lower, your anxiety is lower, and your performance is more guaranteed or more plausible. Yes, we're talking about Viagra, Cialis, things of that nature. So whether you take something on a daily basis like Cialis is more of a daily use drug that's kind of always running at a lower level, or Viagra that's a little bit more as needed, PRN. You take it when you know you're going to need it. They go a long way. It doesn't have to be a high dosage, but it can kind of help get you over that hurdle in your head as much as anything that helps you get past performance anxiety and helps you perform better and longer. So if, whether your nerves kind of keep you from getting hard in the first place, or you're able to get hard but then not stay hard, performance enhancing drugs like Viagra or Cialis can go a long way. Was there anything else? Yep. It doesn't have to be a permanent crush. Just remember that. I think that men have, particularly I would say younger men, younger than say 35, I would say, maybe younger than 45, have an idea in their head that those kinds of medications are strictly for like the 80-year-old with diabetes who genuinely can't even see his dick, much less use it. These are tools and enhancements. It's no different than using pre-workout before having a heavy session. Sometimes you just need an extra boost to get you going and to give you the confidence that you're going to be able to push the heavy weight or fuck the girl. It goes a long way. And from personal experience, I know that whenever Viagra is in the system, there's also a next level confidence that goes a long way too. It's hot. That dick is rod hard, there's no downside to having a little bit of extra boost when you need it for whatever reason, whether it's mental stress, physical stress, or just the fear of not knowing what you're doing. So it goes a long way. And I want to encourage you not to be afraid of taking something that could possibly help improve your performance and your comfort level and your anxiety and relieve the anxiety. And you don't have to be 80 years old to benefit from that. Now, I will say, I want you to know too, it's also not it's not like, if you've never taken Viagra, know this. Also personal experience story. I'm just full of telling you guys about my sex life today. That's what I do best. My ex-husband, I've always been open about the fact that it was a very low sex drive marriage once it got going. And I've always been a high libido girl. This is one of the problems that we had. But at one point, he tried Viagra, and I always go for older men, so he's a little bit older, but he was still not old. Make no mistake. I still wasn't married to any like billionaire 80-year-olds. That would have been great. But even when you're in your head, it's not like you take a Viagra and your dick immediately pops up. You still need arousal. You still need to kind of get out of your mind and out of your own way. So I feel like there's this, especially when Viagra first came on the market, it seemed like, the running jokes were, I feel like a Saturday Night Live kind of skit stuff took off with the effects of how Viagra works. And it's not like you take the pill and within 10 minutes, you're just walking around with this erection, just like randomly. It doesn't work that way. You still need some stimulation. It makes the stimulation easier. It makes it more effective. It makes it more pleasurable when you need it. It's a great tool. So think of it as a pre-workout. If you use pre-workouts in the gym, then you totally understand what this reference is talking about. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to put that on the board here, but that's exactly what I'm saying, Billy. Good way to say it. So thank you guys for joining me today. I haven't gotten any other questions. We've kind of answered questions as we've gone today, which I love. I love you guys joining a conversation that's already in progress and adding to the conversation, asking for clarification. If it's a question that you're having, probably someone else who's watching is having it also. So that's great that you jump in with questions and just comments. So I appreciate you tuning in today. If you have not caught up on Fort Worth and my podcast, please do so. We have a lot of fun over there. We cover a ton of topics from pickup, relationships, dating, and sex. So if you haven't watched all like 220 episodes or whatever we're up to now, I invite you to check that out. We do our best to keep it short and to the point as possible. We do not like to have long podcasts. We have very few that are even at 30 minutes. Most are in the 12 to, I would say, 16-minute range. We try to keep them as short and concise as possible because we value your time and we want you to get the most out of the information that we give without distracting other crap. And we try to be entertaining too. So we love doing the podcast. It's a way of playing off of one another. One of us maybe thinks of something that we wouldn't have considered otherwise. And it's great to get the two perspectives. The same can be said with our Tuesday morning hustle program. We are loving doing that live broadcast. It's kind of like a morning news show of sorts. And we are really enjoying that. So if you aren't able to tune in live on Tuesday mornings at 10 Central Standard Time, you can always watch after the fact. So we appreciate all those who have tuned in and chimed in to that show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Zachary, thank you for the suggestion. Ever done an episode on cold reading? We will definitely get that recorded for you. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great day. I appreciate, as always, Worth Playboy for being the producer that I never knew I needed and for always making me look good. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great day. We want you to win. Bye. Oh my gosh, they never get tired of me going, bye.